Hey everyone, and welcome to Skillcap. My name is Dr. Zora, and in today's video, we're going to be going over how to use aim labs to improve your play in Valorant. If you've been following Valorant for the past few months, you may have noticed that aim labs has become a popular program that players have been using both as a warm-up and for actual aim training. Aim labs has a variety of tools for players of all skill levels to take their play to the next level. We're going to break down these tools so that you can use aim labs just like the pros to take your Valorant skill to Radiant. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Jumping right into our question of the day, how do you like to practice in Valorant? There are a multitude of ways to warm up and train your aim in Valorant. Some of the most common ways in game include Deathmatch and the training range, with the most common third-party programs being Kovac's Aim Trainer and Aim Labs itself. We're curious how y'all like to practice, or maybe you're here just because you haven't found a routine that works for you. If that is the case, make sure to drop that in the comments below. First up, let's go over the basics of aim labs and how you can quickly get started. We need to get our settings adjusted, and luckily on aim labs, you can select Valorant as one of the games, which will make all the settings match what they'd be in Valorant. From there, you can pick the same sensitivity that you use in game so that things will translate very smoothly. You can also adjust your crosshair to replicate what you have in Valorant to make sure everything is mirrored. This area is a little less flexible, where you can really only adjust the gap, thickness, length, and dot size. You'll be able to get most crosshairs with this. However, if you do use a more unorthodox crosshair like the box crosshair, you'll have a tougher time recreating that unless you were to create an image file that you would have to upload to AimLab. From there, we can jump right into the action simply by going into the training tab. There you'll find multiple drills to work on different aspects of your aim. Particularly for Valorant, what we recommend spending the most time with here is on Spider Shot, Grid Shot, and Strafe Track. These drills will really translate most directly to Valorant. In Spider Shot, the goal is to work on spatial awareness and being able to adjust your aim onto a target from various distances and angles. A particularly useful drill for Valorant, especially on attack side where you're going to have to make drastic changes to your aim to swing onto a target depending on what position they're holding. In Strafe Track, like the name implies, you're going to be tracking moving targets with your crosshair, where these targets will switch directions at any given moment. This drill is great for Valorant, as with many weapons in the game, such as the Spectre, Vandal, and Phantom, you'll need to be able to control your aim and the weapon's recoil so that it tracks back onto where the enemy is located if you were initially off. Particularly, this drill is amazing against submachine guns like the Spectre, which can be fairly accurate while moving. Being able to track this moving player will be crucial to whether or not you'll be able to grab this kill. Lastly, Grid Shot is probably the most widely known and most popularly seen training mode in Aim Lab. In this drill, there will be multiple targets that spawn, and your goal is to shoot them down as fast as you can. This really helps to work on hitting those fancy flick shots that you've seen the pros do. It's arguably the funnest drill in Aim Labs, and hence people really enjoy playing it, although there is a slight flaw that we will talk about with this. One thing to note is that at the end of your practice session with these drills, you'll find multiple statistics regarding areas such as your strengths, areas of weakness, and accuracy. Particularly the accuracy stats are very important to look into. With Aim Lab routines, you'll actually be penalized for missing, so you want to emphasize precision and quality over quantity. With all this data given to you, you'll be able to know specifically what areas you want to work on. With that being said, you're probably wondering how long you should do these 3 drills, and this comes down to what your specific goal is with Aim Labs. If you're trying to warm up before your match, we recommend spending 4 minutes with each of the 3 drills of Strafe Track, Spider Shot, and Grid Shot. Save Grid Shot for the end, as it is a very good final drill to do to get all your aim mechanics down with your tracking and flicks. If you're trying to really improve your aim, then we would suggest spending more in the 30-minute range with these drills, which will translate to 10 minutes each. This is just the basics to start off with. For most players, there's likely one of these 3 tasks that you're doing particularly good at, along with one that could use quite a bit more work. We suggest in these scenarios to allocate your time more towards the areas that you need to improve on and less towards those that don't need as much. For players who are watching this and have used Aim Labs before, you likely spent a lot of time on Grid Shot just like the pros, and this is okay at first as it helps with your flick shots. However, if you neglect the drills that help with your other abilities such as with tracking or hitting quality shots in a timely manner, then you're going to find yourself in a non-optimal position. Now these are the simple drills you can do to improve, but Aim Labs has much more to improve certain areas of your aim. By selecting playlists on the bottom left part of the screen, you'll get into more detailed lists of drills that you can do for each area of Valorant. If you feel like you need particular work on flicking, then you'll want to go through all the drills in that category. If you feel like you need to be able to react and shoot faster, then the drills in the speed category would be the best to do. We still want to stick by our rule of spending 15 minutes for a warm-up and 30 minutes for aim practice with these though. The basics again are a good place to start off with, but as you start to delve into these, you'll be able to better know what you can work on, and doing these more advanced variety of drills for that one area that you need to target is going to be more beneficial than just doing one of them. Now if you want an all-inclusive, straightforward way to warm up and practice your aim, you're in luck. Aim Labs has just collaborated with Valorant to create 6 game-specific drills to take you to that next level. If this is a routine that you really want to get into for improving in Valorant, then this is it. The 6 drills here will really hone into major aspects of aiming that you need in Valorant. The first one is Valorant Ascent Headshot. This drill particularly focuses on crosshair placement. Targets are placed at headshot level in size, and the goal is to be as fast as possible at shooting them down while still maintaining your accuracy. Again, you lose points for missing shots, so you want to make each bullet count here. Next is Valorant Ascent Micro Flick. Whether you're on attack side or defender side, there's going to be moments where you will have to face multiple enemies at once. In those scenarios, you need to be quick to kill one player and then transfer to the next. The setup for this drill is perfect on A-long on Ascent, where you may need to go up against multiple players pushing out of that choke point at once. Third is Valorant Ascent tracking. Like we mentioned earlier, tracking enemies while they're moving or putting enemies into your crosshair in general requires you to be able to quickly identify where that player is and adjust your aim accordingly. This drill tends to be one of the most difficult, but it's so valuable to Valorant. Particularly, these scenarios will present themselves on pistol rounds and against submachine guns where you will need to aim on moving players. This drill isn't limited to just those situations though, as you will need good tracking for all situations that involve the enemy moving, which is more than you may think. Moving on, we have Valorant Ascent Wall Peek. This is one of the most important skills to know and one that's highly neglected by lower level players. This drill really trains you to peek with precision, opening up just enough to see your enemy target and no more. The bars on the wall indicate how many enemies you're going to face, and your goal is to peek them so that you get into 1 versus 1 duels with them. If you peek too far where multiple targets see you, you're going to be penalized for it. So this drill is great for getting those small crisp peeks to grab a kill and immediately back out, making you a slippery target. The last drill is incredible and you absolutely don't want to miss out on that, but the 5th drill on this list is trigger control. This really works on your reaction speed, but also make sure that you react to the right targets. We've all been there where we accidentally shoot on a friendly teammate and they don't do any damage, but now your location has been completely given away. What trigger control helps with is it will spawn red targets that you want to shoot quickly, but will also spawn blue targets time to time that you should avoid shooting. It's a double whammy with this one, where we work on reaction speed while also making sure we aren't reacting too fast and making unnecessary shots and moves onto a friendly teammate that spooked us out. And now the last drill, if there's any drill at all from this video you want to do, it's Valorant Haven Entry. Similar to the wall peek drill, you're going to be working on peeking one angle at a time to clear off enemies. You want to take your time with this to ensure that you don't put yourself into 1 versus X situations that are not in your favor. This also works on getting you more disciplined with checking angles and positions in Valorant. By going through this drill even just once, you'll quickly realize how many spots a player can play, and you have to clear them all to ensure that nothing gets neglected. You don't want to be the one responsible for letting an enemy sneak by undetected and then your whole team runs past them and then they get a multi-kill onto you. Similarly to what we just mentioned, we suggest spending 30 minutes doing this routine several times. With 6 drills taking 1 minute each, this translates to repeating the routine 5 times. This will really help to cover your bases and prevent particular weaknesses in your aim from forming. With all those drills said and done, an important note about using aim labs is we have to make sure it translates into our in-game play. For some, this may translate automatically without thought, which would indicate that the training has been paying off. However, for most, getting these aiming techniques down is going to take time, and you're going to have to consciously think about using them when you play. For example, you may need to spend more time lining up your pistol shots so you properly track the enemy and hit the headshot. Or you may need to pay more attention to your sprays to ensure that you're able to adjust your aim if you miss the initial bullets. This is called the cognitive and associative stages of learning, where we need to put more effort to learn these techniques before they become second nature, which is then going to be the autonomous stage. Once we've hit that stage, you're in the driver's seat to getting incredible aim. And we're going to leave you off with a final note, and that is to make sure you still play Valorant more than you do playing on aim labs. While aim labs is certainly great for working on certain aspects of your aim or for warming up, you still need to make sure that most of your time is on the game itself. The drills will only translate as much as you try to translate it in game. So for example, playing 4 hours of aim labs isn't really going to help much when you only play 1 game of Valorant. The ratio is too great here and should be more put onto the game that you play. Aim labs is meant to be a tool to help you improve, however the improving will really be when you play Valorant. So keep this in mind, as we've seen tons of players get too caught up on practicing onto aim labs, but then they forget that they should try to use the techniques that they practice into the game. Alright, so if you haven't already, make sure to leave a comment on how you like to practice in Valorant. Let us know if you're going to use aim labs after having watched this video. We here at SkillCat want to thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the next. I'm Dr. Zora, and good luck out there.